Now, anyone that's played 2.0 kind of knows that entrance and is probably looking for like a river round here and a waterfall and a geyser. Yeah, about that. It's not there. They got criticised for this, which is if you sit down and look at the map, you'll notice that there are certain patterns. If you look at the dark brown lines on the terrain, there's quite a few that are repeated or just rotated 90 degrees and put down again. All the zones were criticised for using copy and paste design in regards to their world, and I do admit it does have a lot of that in there, but because they went for that system, they went on sheer scope and scale for a region. All this is the current region that I'm in. So yeah, this is Camp Drybone. So along here there's now a bridge that you go across, and there's ruins down here. So Camp Drybone map is up there, and Al Mahab, which has your Hatay dungeon, is this section down here. And then you actually have the southern of the area, which is right down there. As you can tell, my PC doesn't like virtually being 1, 2, 3, 4 of these clients in a row, so it has a problem loading the map. But if you go to Western Korthas, you basically go down, you go to Horizon, you go through a tunnel, and then you get to the port. But you see the top section here, which is all orange. What you're not seeing is there is an entire zone underneath that entire area. There is an entire cave network underneath that site, and all that's sort of missing. It makes... oh yeah, there you go, one meteor floating in the sky, getting ready to impact. It's really weird because I have so many memories of this version of the game. Like when night would come out, you'd have skeletons, and if you used a blunt attack on the skeletons, you had a chance that you would actually knock off their head, and it would change the behavior of the mob in regards to how it would try and kill you. Because skeletons are bone, so if you use blunt damage on them, it's more effective. There's another story I want to go into when I go over in that direction. But this is, yeah, Blackbrush. So in 2.0, there's a railway running through here, if I remember correctly. Basically, this is what that outpost was. Obviously in the center, roughly, I think about here, there would have been an Atholite just floating, and you'd have your levy people, your quest people, and then those. Yeah, I forgot those keep flying around. That's all to do with the 1.23 storyline, because when SE decided that they was going to shut down 1.0, they came up with an entire storyline to actually reason away why this land was going to be no more. So kudos for them doing that. But one of the things that we lost in the transition is this. Oh god, wrong one. Actions and attributes. I'm sorry, I can't make this any bigger. So right now I'm a gladiator. So I'm up here. This is your hotbars. So 1, 2 and 3, and they are 10 across. I'm using controller. What it would do is your hotbar, if you've ever had a chocolate called a Toblerone, where it's like triangular, but you can sort of flip it, roll it over 3 sides. That's how your hotbar worked. So you could navigate your skills going left and right, but you also had up and down, which would change which row of your hotbars you was on. So as you leveled up, you'd get your Fast Blade, Rampart, Phalanx, Argus Boom, Savage Blade, Flash, Shield Bash, Sentinel, Flat Blade, Rock Blade. So, and then carrying on, Outmaneuver, War Drum. That was awesome on the shield because it's a AoE taunt for paladins. Really don't understand why they didn't keep that. Tempered Will, Rage of Hallown, and Going Blade. Now, what it did is as you leveled up, I think it's either every 5 levels or every 10 levels, you got to be able to put additional abilities from classes that you had leveled. So, if I was just being a gladiator at level 50, I could equip Stone, Cure, Arrow, Protect, Cleric Stance, Blissful Mind, Raise, Stone Rust, Stone Skin, Cura. If I had it up to 50, then I could do Repose, Curaga, Eraga, Shroud of Saints, Sacred Prism. With Black Mage, yes, I could equip Black Mage spells on my gladiator. So you got your Thunders, Blizzard, Fire, Dark Seal, your Raz. You really could make up your own little class. I remember going round being a fire gladiator for a afternoon where I had fire spells and enchantments and things like that. But you had so much scope and so much freedom in regards to what you could augment your class with. But when they came out with the jobs and they added Paladin, what they did is say Gladiator to change into a Paladin, you can only pick from Warrior and basically the White Mage abilities. So that was something really, really cool. When I was actually tanking the big boss at the end of the campaign on 1.23b, we had a static party and we basically tried doing this fight for an entire month for about 3 hours on a Sunday afternoon. And I ended up being a paladin tank, and the way that we worked it to keep the hate on me and keep the party going is I actually spec'd my paladin as a healer. So I actually was a frontline healer with my paladin by using cures, stone skin, curas and curagas. And it's just really strange that they've taken that side away. But you also had these, which are traits, which kind of have stayed in the game. But it just feels like the game has got more and more constricted into what you can do with your classes. This job system isn't the best at all, but it gave you so many opportunities to be able to make your own class. Like, they have auto attacks in 2.0. They didn't have it in 1.0, but they did in this. But how useful is it if you equip on a gladiator haymaker. So if the enemy in front of you misses you, you can then just smack them round the head with the weapon. It says executed with hand to hand, but you can use it on the gladiator. I have done that. It was quite funny. But yeah, the game, I think the problem that they had with this game is it's the entire problem of they designed too large. And I think in 2.0 they've gone too small, if that makes sense. I mean, I want to do like a series of videos in regards to what this game was. I obviously cannot demonstrate the combat or the quests. I'm hoping that they continue to do further work on this Project Meteor system, because I'd love to be able to get into an inn and see if I can play all the cutscenes from the game. So I could do a series where I'm going through the entire story of 1.0 in sort of modern times. I mean, given how they 2.0 goes, you know, no one remembers what happens, blah-de-blah, blah-de-blah. It would still be nice to actually have an online archive of the story of the game. And that's something that I'd really like to do. So again, we're getting to one of those situations where we got what would be a zone, but if you see, we've now got our elevator bit from Mass Effect, where you've got this thin stretch between two large areas where it gets very narrow and you have to follow a predefined path. Yeah, I mean, it did get annoying in the day, but it does kind of add to the entire idea that you're playing in a continuous world. It's like I've just been playing around in the town, ran pretty much completely around it, walked out the front door, and basically in the current game I would be on my 5th or 6th loading screen. It's hard to say. The other weird bit was you also had point allotment, so you could actually put points in your strength, vitality, dexterity, intelligence, mind, and petty, and it was unique for each class. So my gladiator, as I said, for that 1.23 fight, I ended up putting more points into mine, so my cures were a little bit better. But that's just on the gladiator class. You'd allot points to different locations on the other classes, something that they completely did away with in the transition of 2.0. So we're coming up to the section Camp Horizon. Yes, let's see. So Camp Horizon in 2.0, you come out, there's a big crevice along, go over a bridge, and then you got that little camplet that you go through a tunnel that goes down, and then you're sort of underground-ish. Well, I can't believe the muscle memory is still there for running through these zones. Oh, yet again, just seeing the vast land in front of you, just going, I am here, and I can probably see everything over to there. Ah, Silver Bazaar. Yes, interesting times were had on these. But what I'm hoping to do is show a bit of what I find most interesting about this game. Obviously, the copy, cut and paste idea is everywhere. Going back to it, this after probably it got took down in 2012, 2013. So yeah, coming back to this after 7 years, you know, you don't see the cracks as much. I'm more running through, remembering how I'd be killing tons of skeletons here, how up there, I had my level 15 gladiator quest, and I found out that the monsters that I was going against were fire weak. Now this is before they did the 2.0 job system update in this. So in the old system, when it came to Black Mage, they actually knew all the element spells, whereas now Stone, Air and Water are on the White Mage, and Thunder, Fire and Blizzard are on the Black Mage. All of those 6 were on the Black Mage. So in my eyes, they was proper Black Mages. But they also had the N spells, so you could put any N element on your weapon, and you had all the spike spells as well. You got all the rank 1s of those at about level 14 or 16 Black Mage. So as I knew that there's weak to fire, I basically had N-Fire 1 on my bar, I had Blaze Spikes on my bar, and I had fire as well. So I went into this instant zone basically as, you could call it, a red mage, even though red mage class has only just been implemented in Final Fantasy XIV 2.0. But yet in 1.0 you could make your own red mage. I just feel that there was a completely different design philosophy behind this game and what followed, and it all happened with the changing of the guard. I mean, these are what they called settlements, so these became new mini quest hubs for the local area. The town versions of it would regularly get invaded, and you would have to go there and defend them, and you'd get points for that. But as said in 2.0, once you get to Horizon, you go down this shaft, as to say, and you go downstairs and you get this watery bit where there's normally vultures and crabs, and then you go through it and you get to Vesper Bay, or you can go south a bit. Well, this is that equivalent. So you've basically just gone down this tunnel, and as you can see, Vesper Bay is just coming up. There's the light source for it, and it's a beautiful feel of, you know, you've literally gone seamlessly from one location to another. We'll come back to what's over there in a minute. This is one of the many things that I want to have a look at with this game. So let's see, through here, come down, and this sort of tunnel you should recognize to Vesper Bay, because, you know, it's where you go to the quicksands. However, this location isn't quite how you know it in the modern time. It's a little bit more gutted, a little bit more simpler. The features are there, you can sort of see where everything came from, but the point of this location was just to be the ferry port, because you'd go here, buy a ticket, and then you'd get on a ferry and you'd go across the ocean and go to Lumalasa. Oh, I hate pronouncing that place. But yes, here's the difference though. In this game, you'd have to come down and wait for the boat, because the boats were on a timetable. You'd get on the boat, because it'd stay in port for about 30 seconds. Then you'd get a cutscene of the boat leaving, and then you've got about a 15-minute journey on the boat to get there. And sometimes there could be monsters on the deck. People could go fresh sea fishing off the ferries. Again, it adds to that entire concept of the world being a real place, a consistent place. I still love that lean you get on the character if you try and turn. Just feels so much more weighted. So yes, keep going up, and let's go to places that I may not remember having been to, because just as I was coming in here I said let's keep this in mind for later, because right now we're in the brown stuff, dark brown stuff, which would be like blocked off in 2.0. But no, there's entire cave systems. The main reason that I didn't go exploring in these cave systems is generally Square Enix didn't want you to explore too much, so they put really high level mobs down here, which was just strange. I mean, people ended up working out ways of actually forming parties and leveling off them for stupid amounts of experience, but still, just in like stone's throw of your main city, you've got like level 50 to level 70 mobs. It's just not done as much these days. I mean, when you step outside of Yadar in the modern one, you got a load of level 1s, and then there's a level 12 tortoise. It's not quite the same, but this game just has more scale, more little things to run around and get lost in. It's like when 2.1 it was around 2.0, they added another section underneath main Lenorska, and I literally went into a cave system and I got lost in caves for an afternoon. I worked my way all the way to the bottom and found an interesting mob to fight that dropped something actually really quite interesting and good. But it took me the entire afternoon to try and work out where exactly I was, and then I had to try and work out where the exit was, and then where I am in relation to both, and it just wasn't going that well. All in all, bad time. So yes, might have a look up there if time permits. Okay. Have I gone this way? Inside something. I think that's a mountain above me. Is this just going to go around in a circle? It's going down even more. Oh, thank God. So if you come out that way... What's the other hole for? Should be on my right, right? There we are. That's how I get my weapon out. That's how I make my computer make strange sounds. Yep, that's definitely how I make my computer make strange sounds. So you... Have I just done the same thing? I got sidetracked. Yep, I got sidetracked. Awesome. And that's how you can get lost. So, let's head round here. Yeah, we're heading north now. Huh. Okay, I'm getting lost. I'm getting lost. We'll just go with what we know. See, that's the other thing. These are your maps. They don't really go up and down in level in relation to where you are. So that would have been helpful. But I always thought that this game had so much promise. But SE wanted to drop a metaphorical meteor onto the thing. I mean, that is the crazy thing, is, you know, in a lot of other games, this bottom section would probably be a separate zone to up there. And if you was running down here, you could see people doing their levy quests up the top and fighting things. You always could see other people in the world around you. It's only when you went really, really off the beaten path did you find yourself in a location that where you couldn't see anyone. Again, it's eerie running around this server knowing that I'm the only person who's currently running around it, though I'm pretty glad because I have a pretty good PC, but I honestly don't know if my PC would be able to cope with two people running around on this server. I mean, Jesus Christ. This was probably running, well, the server software on server clusters, so, and the number of clusters they probably needed for the number of players that they had concurrently at one time. Yeah, I don't think my PC's quite up to that. That works out pretty neat. But yeah, it's just, it feels like the maps in the new 2.0 are half, maybe 2/3 the size of what they were, but at the same time they didn't have the same amount of depth. I mean, I'm looking forward to actually, when the map gets there, showing you that, because that zone I haven't seen them recreate that zone in 2.0. That's something really special. The map doesn't do it justice in regards to the idea that they went for, and lovely squelching sounds as I run. At least the good news about when they did this is they got to be able to reuse all the music, because it was technically all the same locations. They had basically the assets of the towns locked in. As I showed, they did keep a lot of aspects of the towns that were promised to be new features coming and new classes. However, those classes never... I know you got Gunbreaker, but that's not what was Musketeer. I mean, there was a really bad update done at one point, and people data mined that particular update, and what it turned out was they'd accidentally put in some of the Musketeer skills into the game, and people was working out how to actually implement those into how to trick the client into using that animation instead of your normal animations. So people could actually see what the animation for Musketeer was actually like. So in this version, there is traces of the Musketeer class. Obviously, you have these things, which you kind of recognize, but them in 2.0, I think that they've used them. You got Al Mahag thing. Where else? Just northeast of there. And I think you've got one or two in southern Thanalan. Running toward the Meteor. That's a bad idea.